Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Not Move podcast. We are here on this snowy Saturday to talk to you guys about the upcoming playoff action. Got the main man, Better Betters, right above me there. How you doing today? He's rocking it hard. We got the man in the booth, JB. How you doing, JB?
What up?
Got our boy, Baltimore's finest, Bag. How's it going, Bag?
Man, it's playoff football. Gotta love it.
And we got the king, formerly of New York, now the king of Rhode Island, the man
Rhode
with the
Island's
plan,
crazy.
Bando.
What's the word?
All right, guys. So we got some playoff action. Two games today. We've got Buffalo and Denver starting off the day at 4:30, and then we have San Francisco and Seattle starting off at 8 p.m. Let's look at Buffalo and Denver. Batters, what is the first thing do you think that we should start to discuss or take a look at?
Mm, you know, I'm thinking, we got to look at that box score from last year in the playoffs and that wild card round, man. Buffalo smacked Denver 31-7. Is that going to be the same story here again today, or is Denver got a plan to turn that around?
Yeah, I think everybody is looking forward to what we see from these two quarterbacks more so than the defensive front today. But Bags, I think I think everybody is gonna have to look at that quarterback situation, especially with second year Bo Nix and Josh Allen. What are you thinking?
It's gonna be a good matchup. Like you said, or like Better said, there was a disparity in the score last year, 31-7. Bo Nix couldn't push the ball down the field, and they had a lack of running game with Javante Williams. So I'm kind of excited to see if RJ Harvey can, tip the scale on the running game, and if having Bo Nix being a second year quarterback, understanding the offense a little bit better because we do know that Sean Payton has a very difficult and uh, disciplined offensive system. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, you're right about Sean Payton. The wonders that he has done for this Broncos team since coming aboard as the head coach. It's been interesting. Bando, what are you looking at for these two teams from last year's game to this year?
Honestly, I still feel like Buffalo's gonna pull out with the win. Just because Josh Allen with the experience him in the playoffs, especially with Josh Allen in crunch time, he always shows up.
And
But
then
now that Bo Nix is second year in Sean Payne's system, well, Sean Payne has one of the most difficult offensive systems to learn. I don't know. It might be a close game. It might be a close game. But I still got Buffalo pulling out the win.
Yeah, and I mean, JB, you've actually had more experience probably than most of us watching this Broncos team, seeing as how your favorite team is in the same division. Given what happened last year, and what's going to happen this year, what are you looking at from last year's game to this year's game?
Really, the I'm looking for the growth. Oh man, we got an echo. I'm looking for the growth of Bo Nix in this game. To be honest with you, looking at him not only growing from last year, but over the course of this year. Starting faster and finishing, making sure that he finishes the game. I know he finishes the game really well. Um, Denver has the most fourth quarter comebacks by Bo Nix this year. Um, Both teams I've seen very, very frequently in the past 8 years. Um, I need to see this team. I need to see Bo Nix really step up. Like I said earlier on in the game, um, and I need RJ Harvey. We need RJ Harvey because that is another big difference. With J.K. Dobbins was their premier rusher, correct?
Yeah,
And
for
Josh
what he got
Allen.
hurt, the last 4 weeks of the season, something like that, right? He was thrown on injured reserve.
Yeah, that's what I say. He is hurt, and he was. Their running game is totally different than what it was last year. Um, looking at this, Allen, I know he says it is okay, but I mean, we've seen him smack his hand on that helmet last week. With his his throwing arm. I don't care what anybody says, like that's still gonna affect him big time. And another thing, what's his face was also limping around Cook, last week as well. He got injured. Um in that game. So the Bills are not coming in 100% healthy in this game, guys. Um, I think Denver has a very good chance. I like Denver in this game, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, one thing, better as you brought up that last game between these two teams last year, which was, we can say it, a lopsided victory by Buffalo.
Yeah,
The one thing that stands out to me is just the total yards for Buffalo and the total yards for Denver in general. The running game was not successful last year. 79 yards on 17 attempts for Denver, and Buffalo just trounced them on the ground and the air. 210 rushing, with 261 passing yards as well. Um, do you think that they are going to try and utilize their running game this year better a little bit more to stifle Buffalo? Because, like JB said, Buffalo's got those offensive injuries, but it doesn't seem too. Defense seems relatively good. I see Damar Hamlin is questionable, but nobody is out right now.
Yeah, I think the Broncos absolutely have to focus in on that rushing attack today, simply because the Buffalo Bills ranked second best in passing yards allowed per game. So their pass defense is really good there in Buffalo. Whereas their rush defense, that is the biggest vulnerability in this Buffalo defense. They rank 28th in rushing yards allowed per game. So, yeah, I absolutely think that's where Denver has to capitalize on. But, that doesn't necessarily fit perfectly with Denver's offensive strengths. Uh, Relative to other teams in the league, Denver was a better passing team in regards to passing yards per game than a rushing team this season. Also, Denver called a higher percentage of passing plays than league average. So I think they have to switch up their play calling a little bit, focus a little bit more on that rush, keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, and really attack that vulnerability there, and not just with their running back, but also Bo Nix. Um, this season, Buffalo has allowed the fifth most rushing yards to quarterbacks. So, not only do I think this is a great spot for RJ Harvey, but Bo Nix as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. Bo Nix, not really known as a guy who is just going to go rush, but he's a known scrambler, but one thing that I noticed from last year to this year is Bo Nix hasn't had to run outside the pocket as much. He hasn't had to scramble. The protection has been much better for him. Um, Bo Nix is a better second half quarterback this year as well. Like
yeah,
JB said, I think he was second and fourth quarter comebacks. He was number one in game winning drives at the end of the season. Uh, that's impressive for a second year guy to come up with all these question marks on his resume. Uh, this passing game does seem to be the key, and Buffalo doesn't have the greatest passing defense, but their passing defense is better than the rushing defense.
No, that's absolutely facts. And I like what Better said because we understand it doesn't have to be RJ on the ground, but moving the pocket with Bo Nix, not having him as a statue, because Ed Oliver is coming back. We have Milano, uh, Bernard, so like they got a good defensive front when it comes to passing. Like if they can get RJ to get 4.5 yards per carry, and like you said, the offensive line comparative to last year is so much better, especially on the run. But short wide receiver screens or dump offs to RJ Harvey, just to keep the Buffalo Bills defense honest. And if you can establish the run game with RJ, then they got to drop somebody in the box, which is going to open up 1v1s versus, with Mims, Franklin, Cortland Sutton, and even Evan Ingram. If they can take advantage of the middle of the field after they make them drop somebody in the box, it's going to prove a lot better for them.
And it seems like we're doing a good amount of focus on the offense of the Broncos. So, Bando, why don't you tell us a little bit about Buffalo too and how they are going to attack this stifling number one Bronco defense? Top five defense all year long. They have
Honestly,
been first in sacks. How are the Bills going to attack this defense?
honestly, we've seen it. We've seen it through this year. How Denver has struggled against scrambling QBs, and Josh Allen is a scrambling QB. So if they let Josh Allen use his legs, it's GG's. It's GG's. So if they got to attack Josh Allen. They
Yeah,
got to
one
attack
thing.
Josh and stop him from running that ball
Yeah, and that is one thing. If
and
you look
making
at the
plays with his legs.
numbers, if you look at the numbers, you're hitting it, Bando, because when they have their wins this season, their losses, they have the lowest amount of rushing yards minus
hmm
one game for them this year.
And a prime example of that was when they played my team. When they played Jackson, they didn't know what to do with Jackson Dart when he was screaming the ball. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah, that is true. Jackson Dart gave them hell, and ran all over them this year. JB, what else with the Bills? How are they going to cook on this stifling Bronco defense?
Dude, plain and simple. It's give James the pots and pans. Hand the ball off to James and let him cook. um, he's got that culinary degree after this past season. He signed that contract. Inked it up. Um, but they also they got that guy back there, Josh Allen. The guy is no punk. Um, he's in the playoffs every year. He's successful in the playoffs until he meets a certain somebody who's not there this year. Won't mention any names or anything, but you know, flapjacks, tick tock, patty whack, whatever. He's not there, plain and simple. So he's gotta make sure that he comes through with this, man. Um, But I think the keys to it, bro, is tight ends. Tight ends, James Cook, and having Jared Allen do his thing on the ground. That's one of his most dangerous points is when he takes off. They're gonna have to make sure that they keep. I think also when they go and attack, they're gonna have to attack like pretty evenly, because they are out there in Denver, mile high. You guys, the altitude plays a factor in that, so you got to keep them fresh. Um, but yeah, I think over the middle and James Cook with the tight ends is how the Bills make it happen.
Over the middle and through the woods. Hopefully, the Bills will use that to get there. I'm looking at some stuff here, betters, and I'm seeing Dalton Kincaid was still walking around in a boot. He was still having some injury issues earlier today. Does that, for you, what does that make you think for the receiving lines for the Bills this week? Because last week they really relied heavily on Shakir. So what are you looking at for this week that you're willing to look at and be like, yes, I can definitely put my opinion behind this one. I think we should look at this more.
Yeah, I'm seeing here on the FanDuel Daily Fantasy app that Dalton Kincaid doesn't have an injury designation for this game against the Broncos today. And when I'm looking at the Broncos pass defense. That seems like where the Broncos are most vulnerable in defending that tight end position in regards to yards allowed per game. I'm comparing it to the wide receiver position, the running back position. So I think that's where Buffalo should attack Denver, is through the tight end game. And Dalton Kincaid, that would be the first place I would start looking for player props. Dawson Knox, even, that backup second string tight end. I think Jackson Hawes could even possibly, get a catch or two. But that's where I would look for. I know Kincaid has scored a touchdown in 1 out of 2 career games against Denver. If you guys are looking for anytime touchdown props, I was really talking about yardage allowed. It looks like Denver is about average at allowing tight end touchdowns this season. But yeah, so for this Buffalo team, though, they really do like to run the ball. They called the second highest percentage of rushing plays this season. But much like how I mentioned that Denver needs to switch their play calling style a little bit here today and run the ball a little bit more, I think Buffalo should do the same. I think Buffalo should try to pass the ball a little bit more. Now, I heard somebody mention that Josh Allen could pick up some rushing yards today. Yeah, Denver wasn't great against quarterbacks rushing on them this season, so that's a good place to look. But Denver was really good at defending against running backs rushing against them. So I think Buffalo's got to, call a little bit more, a higher percentage of passing plays today and take advantage of that Denver tight end defense.
Yeah, one thing I'm looking at Denver's defense to do today is something that maybe this is one of the maybe minor things you can discuss about a negative for the Denver defense is they didn't force enough turnovers. That defense wasn't fortunate enough to force enough turnovers this year. So, one thing that we have seen Josh Allen do in the past when he's been hit and under pressure is he does fumble sometimes in the playoffs. That is something that happens with Mr. Josh Allen. Bag, what do you think about the defense here, making Josh Allen miss, making him fumble, making him make mistakes?
I mean, I kind of got to push back on what Better said. I disagree. I don't think you should want to pass more. What we do know is with this Denver's defense, they're more susceptible to being gouged by the run than the pass. And the reason being is because they are the number 1 sack leader of the league. So they can rush 4 and get home and drop 7, right? So, and I get the weak part of the passing is the middle of the field. So I do agree with his part of utilizing the tight ends. But if you don't have James Cook, especially in the first 15 to 20 scripted plays, getting a bulk of the play calls and the carries, then what you're essentially doing is falling right into the game plan of Sean Payton and Vance Joseph in the defense. Because if you're just going to sit there and have Josh Allen stand up, and of course, he can move, he can get out of harm's way, but you're just going to let Benito and that defensive front just pin their ears back and, go head hunting for Josh Allen. That does not sound like a successful game plan, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a great point. Denver did lead the league in total sacks. They can apply that pressure. One thing that Denver has been known, and what you guys are speaking to, is gashes of yardage up the middle. While they have a great edge rushing component to them, they are susceptible to having huge chunks of yardage come right up the middle, because maybe you could say that defensive line might be one of the weaker points in this not really weak defense. Bando or JB, what are you thinking as far as this Denver defense and the pass? Like Betters is talking about what Bag just brought up. Do you think that it's going to be better to attack with a passing style against the Denver D, or maybe using more of a scramble passing style? I know Bando thinks Josh Allen, but JB, What are you thinking here?
Against the Denver defense. I think Denver needs to. Oh man, I think they need to utilize James Cook up the middle, and have that pull everybody in, right? And that's when I think that they need to utilize and use the pass to set up, or the run to set up the pass, and start hitting them running backs. RJ Harvey out the backfield. I think for the Bills to attack the Denver defense. Oh, I'm sorry. I had that backwards, guys. I had that backwards. The Bills attacking the Denver defense. I need the Bills attack the Denver defense. They need to utilize James Cook, gash him up through the middle of the gut, play action. Because I mean, you got Surtain, dude. Their defense, bro, their pass defense has been amazing. Denver's. I just think the way to get them, though, is you need to get them in and then attack Riley Moss. Attacking Riley Moss. Obviously, that's what everybody does because they stay away from Surtain. But that is going to be the key, is gashing them with James Cook and, slowing down that rush. That's the only way that they're going to be able to slow down that rush. That's it. Play action.
And Bando, besides Josh Allen being able to scramble, Bag brings up a good point of that stifling sack defense of the Broncos. They do have some great edge rushers coming at him. Like I said, they led the league in sacks. What does Buffalo do to combat that, Bando? Like that's one thing. I kind of agree with Betters. They kind of need to attack in the pass a little bit, but man, with that rush coming off, what are they going to do besides having maybe Josh Allen do either delayed QB runs or scrambles?
They're gonna do more than that. They're probably going to use Cook, Shakir. I don't know, cause the the last game, the only receiver that played well is Shakur. Keon Coleman was nowhere to be found. Those other guys nowhere to be found. I don't know. Honestly, it's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be a tough game. It's really gonna be a tough game to call.
Yeah,
Cause they can't just use Shakur and Shakur showing up and nobody else showing up.
yeah, that's one thing. I think the win in this game for Buffalo relies on their defense.
Oh my
Um,
god! Hold on.
their defense was number one against the pass this year. They were 11th in forced fumbles, with 7 of those coming back to Buffalo. They did score a touchdown off of one of those fumbles. Buffalo is 11th, like I said, overall in forcing fumbles. That's something that's going to work in their favor. They were better than the Broncos defense at forcing fumbles. Um, what should Buffalo's defense do against Bo Nix? And even I like the rushing attack overall. I know that Dobbins is injured, but I like what Harvey has done since coming over and taking over the load, so to speak. Betters, what do you think this Buffalo defense needs to do to trip up Bo Nix?
I think I think the main thing for Buffalo today, I think the pass defense is going to be fine for them. I think it's just zoning in on that run for Buffalo. That's it. The pass defense is going to do its thing. Just focus on that run today, Buffalo. I think you guys come away with a win today. And I'm not expecting a perfect run defense here from Buffalo, but just limit what Harvey and Bo Nix are going to do.
Yeah, the Bills that's their one thing. They're 7th in total defense this year. It's really worked out for them, passing defense and doing what they can to stop that pass. I think that's where they are going to actually be better against the Broncos this week. Anybody else, guys? What JB, Bando, Betters, Bag? Let's give our final thoughts on this game so that way we can go talk about the next one here. Betters, let's start off with you, my man. Final thoughts on the game and what you think is going to happen.
I don't think I touched on, where Denver's passing attack should focus in on against Buffalo. So I'm just seeing real quick. It looks like, Buffalo's really good at defending against that tight end position. They ranked first in receiving yards allowed to tight ends this season. It was really receiving yards allowed to running backs is where they were most vulnerable in the passing game relative to other teams in the league. So if you'd like any running backs for Denver, pass catching backs, I think that's a good place to look for in this Denver passing offense. And then overall in this game, I got to lean with Buffalo here. Let me see what that line is real quick. Buffalo plus the 1.5. I could see Denver coming away with this win. I'm actually, kind of rooting for Denver too, but I do think Buffalo plus 1.5 is the move here. And I do expect Buffalo to win this game as well.
What do you think the score is going to be, Betters?
Score, let's do 39 total points in this game. Give me so what's that? 23 to 16. 23 to 16 Buffalo.
Probably coming down the fourth quarter, right?
Yeah. But I do think Buffalo, wins comfortably in this one. 7-point victories, fairly comfortable. 23-16 Buffalo.
JB, sir, give us your final thoughts on this game and what you think the score is going to be and who's winning.
Man. Bo Nix is gonna play some good ball, man. I like what Better said with RJ Harvey out the backfield. I like that. Denver, they were susceptible to what's his face, Jackson Dart, new era. So I think Josh Allen could take advantage of that. Just the same. I think I want neither team to win. Like, I don't like either team.
Triple overtime, JB.
In a perfect world. In a perfect world. Okay. I don't know what a perfect world would bring because, like I said, I want neither to win. So I would literally, this is how I like this to go. Like, I don't care. I want Denver to get knocked out today. I have Denver winning, but I want Denver to get knocked out today. I want Buffalo to get knocked out next weekend in the AFC Championship game. I want New England to lose, and I want the Houston Texans to go to the Super Bowl. Okay? That's what I want. I don't want none of those other ones to win. I can't stand none of those. I don't want to hear the Patriots and Tom Brady's, his supposedly, possibly clone. This isn't Star Wars. I don't, Buffalo, obviously, no. Denver, no. So
In a perfect world, the Broncos can't play anymore and the Chiefs have to take their place. We know that's really what you're hoping for, but
yeah.
unfortunately, we are where we are, all of us in Cancun watching this atrocious football game.
I wish I was in Cancun. I just think that with look, they didn't play them this season. They played them. I mean, they played them almost exactly a year ago. Okay, 6 days ago it was exactly a year ago. Man, I'm going with the Denver Broncos fourth quarter comeback. Bo Nix is gonna go down there. I know Southgate said he wants to see Josh Allen 2-minute driving down the field, get into the red zone and throw a pick to Surtain to seal his fate. So I want the exact opposite, or what I see exact opposite. I don't want, like I said, I don't want either one of them to win. I can't imagine who's going to be more annoying, Bills or Broncos. I might disappear from TikTok just so I don't have to hear these two. Like I stayed for my team after they lost. I could deal with that.
Bag, you're up, my friend. What are you thinking for this game?
hey, my total for the game though, my total score for the game. Okay, my total score for the game is 21-23 or 23-21 Denver.
Okay. Score wise, I got 28-17 Denver. Game plans is kind of similar. Establish the run, quick passes, just so the Denver defensive line can hone in on Josh Allen, and vice versa. Bo Nix, I don't want him to have to hold the ball too long, because the longer he holds the ball is the more susceptible to turnovers. Um, from last year's aspect to now, like I said, I think the growth of Bo Nix and having a little bit of playoff experience is going to help. But, to like JB said, Josh Allen has been in the playoffs every year for the last 6 years, and he's played very well. Can he continue that? We shall see. I think what it really boils down to is adjustments, right? Like, does Sean McDermott and Sean Payton, after the scripted plays and, coming into the second quarter or going into the second half, can you make the right adjustments for your team to win the game? And I have more faith in Sean Payton and that stout defense than I do Buffalo. And I'm not going to say lackadaisical, because they do put points up. But the last couple weeks, Josh Allen has not performed up to Josh Allen's standard. And like Southgate said, 2 minutes, I don't want to see a bunch of runs with James Cook, right? If they need a touchdown or, get down the field for a game-tying field goal, I want to see the ball in Josh Allen's hand. Because all I heard last year is the reason why he won that DEI MVP is because he does more with less, and he is the second best quarterback in the league. So with that narrative being what it is, I want to see you stand on business. And I want to see it done when it counts the most. And we all know playoffs is where it's at.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bando, what you thinking for this game today, my friend?
I'm going with the former MVP. I'll say 28-24 Bills.
I want to do touch on what Blessed Up Piece had done in the chat. Brandon Cooks. I do like Brandon Cooks today too. You guys got anybody that you guys like for like anytime TDs on this?
Cook.
Yeah.
Like maybe like some player props.
You know,
Maybe
with the yardage and everything, I haven't had time to look at player props, but looking at Buffalo's biggest vulnerability, it looks like it's running backs rushing touchdowns. They allowed the most out of any team this season. So I think RJ Harvey is a great candidate. On the flip side, I'm looking at where Denver's weak at allowing touchdowns this season. They don't really have a big vulnerability except maybe receiving touchdowns allowed to running backs, which makes me go and look to see if James Cook is capable of receiving touchdowns. He's had 2 this season, so I think that's some good upside there for James Cook. He has scored a touchdown in 1 out of 2 career games against Denver. I can see Josh Allen getting in again here today, but just based off of what I'm looking at here, I'm thinking the 2 running backs. Let me take that back. I got a feeling it's going to be. I think for my sleeper, I'd have to go with Dawson Knox. I would look at James Cook, but my sleeper, Kincaid, Knox, maybe not Kincaid, not a sleeper, but yeah, I think Kincaid or Knox could very well get in today too.
Betters, can you check and see how many receiving touchdown Ray Davis has?
Yeah.
Blessed Up says Ty Johnson for a touchdown.
Ray Davis. Let me filter this real quick. Ray Davis receiving touchdowns. He has 2 as well. So that gives Ray Davis some upside there too, Bag. Good call out. And then Ty Johnson, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned him, JB. He's currently listed as questionable with an ankle issue.
Blessed Up. You hear that, Blessed Up? That's good that you brought that up because now you know.
And also Curtis Samuel, wide receiver for the Bills. He was activated from the IR on Friday. So it looks like, that's typically a pretty good indication that he's going to play in this game.
Greenlaw for the Broncos is active as well on the defensive side.
And a Fungo.
Yep.
Fungo's active. There's nothing questionable about him. So yeah, ready to go.
Yeah, the one thing that also Betters you touched on was what Kincaid being in that or being hurt or no injury or whatever. I know that's one thing that like Southgate has been harping on was all week. He did not practice up until I think like yesterday or the day before. It was his first practice of the week, and he'd been walking around the entire week in a walking boot. So whatever that is to whatever that may mean, I know that personally. I've seen him in the past because, like I said, we've dealt with this team a lot in the playoffs, and this is not the first time I've seen him walking in a walking boot. And I thought like, oh shoot, we got one up. But I think it's something that he personally hasn't like a long time lingering lifetime thing. You know what I'm saying? I think it's more like a prevention rather than like a protection rather than, you know what I'm saying, a cast.
If anything, that makes me like Dalton Kincaid to score a touchdown even more. Because there's a lot of eyes on this game. And I think the general public, if they hear that Dalton Kincaid has been walking around in a boot all week, everybody's going to be pretty hesitant on picking him for an anytime touchdown. I love picking players to perform well. When they're injured, really, or when they're coming back from an injury. Believe it or not. I mean, it doesn't always work out, but seems like more times than not, man.
Like I said, you didn't
that are questionable.
He didn't get hurt, like go out and get hurt. It was just like end of the game and he put on a boot, wore a boot all week. didn't practice. That it's just the guy's played a lot of football. You guys, he's he's been producing. So like I like it too. I think it's more of a mental thing, like you said, kind of like, oh, okay, this guy might be injured. We don't have to really prep for him. Let's not work for him. Let's he might be just a decoy. And then once he starts, getting usage, they're gonna have to change their game plan, which then Buffalo can change the game plan. Like, okay, well, that was the game plan for this to get you to do this. Now we're gonna go and do that and do something totally different and change their game plan.
Yeah.
To alter that defense. I think that's
to Better's point. They have Kincaid at plus 320 for anytime touchdown.
That seems
good.
That seems pretty fair, man. Plus 320. Like I said, I can see Knox getting in though too. I could see them both getting in, but just the fact that Kincaid is like, people are worried about, his injury makes me like him a little bit more today.
What do you think Better's about this too? I know we had a guy, Jay Dams from TikTok come on, and he talked about, I know you usually talk about this too. Also, what's up, Tinez? Hey, first off, I want to shout out to everybody that is watching, everybody that is out there on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You guys are awesome. But a lot of the wagers are on Buffalo. A lot of the money is on Buffalo right now, and we all know that the house does not lose. On top of that, I also want to touch on I want to hear what you guys say about that, and I also want to touch on the whole situation of referees. We are in the playoffs, and I believe that the whole that whole stat of referees, I put that more into a factor in the playoffs. Personally, when I look at it, I know that one of the guys, I don't know, somebody said something about it, but the guy that's supposed to be like head official for my, if rumor was true, I don't know who it is.
Carl Sheffers.
And he's the dude with he's the older guy with the white hair, right? I'm pretty sure he likes to rule in Buffalo's favor a lot. All right, babe.
Yeah. I'm not sure about his hair color, but he's an older guy.
Yeah, because there's a picture that I've been using on TikTok, and it's a picture of him and Josh Allen hugging.
Yeah, you're talking about Carl Sheffers.
That's
Carl Sheffers. Yep, he does. There has been stuff that's shown that he does do a lot of Bills favorable calls throughout his career.
The Bills are 14-7 when Carl Sheffers referees Bills games, and the Broncos are 10-8. So the Bills have a better winning percentage than the Broncos do with this referee. Also, Buffalo is 1-0 against Denver. 1-0 against Denver with this referee. They've played each other once throughout history, and Buffalo came away with that win.
That's big, man. And here's the other thing. This is another reason why I bring that up. Denver's a very aggressive defense, right? You have a defense that likes to get at the quarterback. Now, who is this quarterback that they like to get after that they're going to be playing today? Josh Allen, okay? Not only is it Josh Allen, but what is Josh Allen doing known for? Josh Allen is the LeBron James of the NFL, the biggest flopper. He gets the most calls at this point in time.
I didn't know Josh Allen changed his name to Patrick Mahomes.
Hey, go look it up, buddy. Actually, he's in the last 3 years, Josh Allen has actually has had the most calls for him on pass interference and all that BS. So yeah, hey.
And JB, I do think that probably is a bigger amount of people and money coming in on Buffalo, but I don't think it is lopsided. I think a lot of people are looking and seeing Broncos are at home. They are the number one seed. I don't really watch a whole lot of football, but this is what the average person is probably thinking. I don't watch a lot of football, but I'm going to go ahead and take this team that's at home, and I see the one seed next to their name. So,
And and JB, you bring up about Sheffers. It's really interesting since Sean Payton has been with Denver and had Sheffers as the lead NFL official. He is actually 3-1 so far.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting to see because in his Saints days, that's where the favorable calls went against him, right? So now in his Broncos days, we're seeing that he is 3-1 with this referee as the head official. So that's also something to be interested about, especially with Sheffer in games officiated over the past 5 seasons. The home team won between 56% and 75% of the time.
I'm just saying.
So, like Better said, number one seed, home seed, 75 and 56% of the time. It was 56% of the time this past year. So that's going down a little bit, but that still favors the home teams when he officiates.
I'm telling you guys, in the playoffs, like in the regular season, I know betters and I is kind of one of the things that we the cool little things that we look at. Doesn't mean that it really affects it. Doesn't mean it really changes. It's just, hey, dude, this is a crazy stat that when this referee is there and is officiating this game or this team, and like I said, guys, I have played this team in the playoffs in this game with this referee. I know how it gets officiated. So I'm just saying, keep that in mind in the playoffs, especially from here on out. The games are more meaningful, there's more money involved, and the house always wins. So keep in mind.
And how many commercials do we see Bo Nix on? I feel like I see Josh Allen on more commercials. So it seems like, he is more of a poster child candidate for the NFL than Bo Nix. I know a lot of people, and I'm starting to kind of believe it, at least for this game, right? A lot of people believe that this is Josh Allen's time because no Mahomes in the playoffs, no Lamar Jackson, no Joe Burrow, and I think this is why I'm afraid of Buffalo winning this game.
What up, A-Train?
What's up, gentlemen?
We're also forgetting about who's Josh Allen's famous wife. This is, he hit Haley Steinfeld. They want him to be the poster child of the NFL because he's married to a famous actress.
Yeah.
This is just like
Mahomes.
I don't like to compare it. Yeah, but it's like the Chiefs situation. They love having Taylor Swift because it brings more eyes to the product. All the eyes are coming to the product from these outside avenues that they don't touch upon. So when people think of Taylor Swift and Haley Steinfeld, you're getting probably 50 to 70% more female audience involved with the game.
Facts.
And go ahead, back. My bad.
And no, I thought you was done. That's my fault. Let's keep in mind, and I found it real funny that they changed the line yesterday, but this was the second time that the number one seed was an underdog.
Yeah, see?
Second time, yes.
And the last time they did it was when Carson Wentz was hurt and Philly was the number one seed and won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, right? So I think when the line originally came out until it changed yesterday, the Broncos got a chip on their shoulder, right? Because that's very disrespectful.
Yes.
Because we know when you're home, you automatically get 3 points, right? And the fact that they were the underdog, and even with the change in the lineup, it's still only 1.5, right? Like, if I'm Sean Payton, I hate the quote, bullet board material, right? I'm not a huge fan of that, but if I'm Sean Payton, that is the number one bulletin board info that I am sticking up on there. And like, look, They're disrespecting us. We put in work in all season. Would y'all win 12 games in a row at one point, A-Train?
11, but yeah.
11. Yeah, like, bro, you don't win 11 games in a row, and that shit is just a fluke. You know what I'm saying? So for them to have them as an underdog at home and being the number one seed in the conference, yeah, I'm utilizing that as, energy and bulletin board material to say, you know what, let's go out here and put a hurting on the Buffalo Bills.
You guys, I just got a thing over here on TikTok that Sam Darnold tonight might not even play. He has an oblique injury.
So
Yeah, he's
I,
supposed.
I
Oh
I
wow.
was reading from Schefter when I got up this morning that he has not thrown a pass since he had this
Since
oblique.
Thursday.
Yeah, since
Since
Thursday.
Thursday.
Not a
Literally,
pass.
Peter Kostick from Petar from TikTok. We all know him. He just literally just dropped that knowledge. Thanks, Peter. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
I'm seeing here on the FanDuel Daily Fantasy app that Coach Mike McDonald expressed confidence Friday that Darnold, oblique issue, like you just mentioned, will be available for this game tonight. So I'd be very surprised to see if Darnold missed this game.
Yeah.
And, before we get into that next game, I was naturally thinking I like San Francisco, at least to cover in that one. But
Blessed Up P says teams with an underdog teams to win as an underdog in wild card round are 8-30 straight up and 19-19 against the spread individual round since 2003. Teams playing on short rests and playoffs in the divisional round or later are 6-15 straight up since 2002. Teams playing on their second consecutive roll game or later in the playoffs are 32-64 straight up, 33% over the last 20 years.
So that
Yeah.
was 32 and 64. That's 50%, right?
32-64. Yes, that is 50%.
Okay.
Yeah. And before we
Straight
move
up.
on, and before we move on, I want to give A-Train, our resident Bronco fan, let's clear out the lane and let him get the ball and cook because A-Train, go ahead and fill us in what you're thinking for this game between the Bills and Broncos today, man.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys have hit on. Obviously RJ Harvey's going to have a big game because we know Buffalo's defense is weak against the run. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure Brett Better's probably already hit on this that Buffalo is definitely weak against the run. They're better in the passing game. One interesting stat that I saw that kind of like stood out to me about last week against Jacksonville was Rashid Shaheed was targeted, or not Rashid Shaheed, Khalil Shakir was targeted 12 times and he caught all 12 balls for 83 yards. All right. He's going against PS2. He's going to be lining up against PS2 most of the day, right? And it's just normally that's just how it falls when they line up against each other. So I don't see him having that big of a game today. I mean, that was one stat that really popped out to me. Um, Obviously, like we've hit on it all week. The tight ends. I mean, we're weak against tight ends, and we're weak against James Cook when he runs between the tackles. So we're gonna have to establish the run. I like R.J. Harvey this week because he's gonna have to be a key factor. The other thing is Bo Nix can't turn the ball over. We can't be giving Josh Allen short field. That's not gonna be good for a script for us. So I definitely would try to keep Josh Allen off the field as much as possible. Um, the defense, it speaks for itself. Number one in sacks. They're up there. This is an elite, historic. Rush getting sacks this year. We fell second to the 85 Bears in total sacks this year. So, I mean, we got to get to Josh Allen, and I'm just hoping that when we bring Hufanga down in the box, we're able to stop James Cook. That's going to be the script. Bring Hufanga down into the box and stop James Cook and make Josh Allen beat us. Now, obviously, he's the quarterback that can do it. You know what I mean? But I think our secondary is good enough to not only keep us in the game. I want it to stay low scoring. I want it to be like 17-20 kind of game. That's my prediction.
Ooh, so A-Train, real quick,
Yeah.
because you said PS2 was going to stick Shakir. Do you think he follows him in if Shakir lines up in the slot?
See, there's many ways to attack this too, right? Because PS2 can also cover tight ends. I don't know if you guys saw the Kansas City game. They put PS2 on Kelsey. So they could always stick him on Kincaid as well. So definitely when we watch the game today, see what PS2 is doing because he's either going to stick on Kincaid or he's going to be on Shakir. And then the other matchup is going to be like Cooks and Keon Coleman going up against Riley Moss and Jade Barron. So those are going to be the key matchups to watch because we are a little bit weak on the other side of PS2.
Yeah, that's what I kind of touched on. I said that they were going to try to attack, use James Cook up the middle to kind of bring them in, and then attack Riley Moss. Take advantage of that and over the middle with the tight ends.
I mean, and the big thing to watch today is who is running the ball effectively. You know what I mean? If we're struggling to run the ball, it's going to be a long day. And then same for the Bills. If James Cook can't get going, we can pin our ears back on defense, and this bodes well for us on defense. So
Yep.
the running game is going to tell us a lot today.
I
Yep.
also think the time of possession for each team is going to tell the story too, because these are both two teams that are in the top 10, Buffalo being number 1, Broncos being number 7. They both like to control the ball. So whoever gets the opportunity to control the ball more on offense, I definitely think is going to win this game as well.
Yeah,
Josh Allen and Buffalo. Oops, sorry.
No, go ahead, JB. I was just gonna say those are two of the huge key factors. Time of possession. Because like you said, both teams like to keep the ball. That's one thing I noticed leading up into this game is both teams like to hold on to the ball and have time of possession. So see who's winning the time of possession battle. Definitely a stat to look at halftime is who's held the ball longer, and then the rushing yards to see who's rushed the ball more effectively.
So Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are 3-0 straight up as underdogs this season. It says they won 5 out of their last 6 overall. This is Blessed Up P, so I'm quoting. So I would guess that's stating back to last season as well. So that's
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah.
more sense because I was about to say, how are they 5-0 if they won 5 of their last 6? But okay, if it's
yeah. They're
carrying over from
33.
last year.
They're 30. He said since 2003, home teams in divisional rounds coming off a bye are 33, 44, and 1 against the spread.
And I don't know if you guys hit on this, but Josh Allen has not thrown any picks like in the last 6 playoff games. Like he
That's
just
good.
does not turn the ball over. So that's one thing I'd pay attention to is if Josh Allen throws a pick, that's a big red flag because he just hasn't done it in the playoffs. He just doesn't throw picks.
He
Right?
doesn't throw picks,
No.
but he can fumble.
Yeah,
That's
he'll
the
put it on the
thing. He
ground.
doesn't lose a lot of fumbles, but he can fumble. That's one thing that Bag touched upon earlier with the rushing attack from Denver. This is going to be a good opportunity for to make him force a fumble in the pocket. That's going to
Yep.
be their strength is controlling him in the pocket and making him drop that ball.
I
Yeah,
think that's where you see them actually. That is where you actually that I think right there. Whoever comes up, blessed pieces, Bo Nix interception and Purdy interception today. I like it. I actually like all quarterbacks to throw an interception today. To be honest with you.
Yeah, guys. Last game Josh Allen played in the playoffs last year when they lost, he fumbled the ball 3 times. He didn't lose it 3 times, but he fumbled the ball 3 times. The Chiefs got at him. The game before that, Josh Allen against the Ravens did not fumble, but they held him in check to no passing touchdowns. And so control him in the pocket like the Ravens did last year and almost won. And like the Chiefs did, it seems like that's going to be something to do with Josh Allen, make him drop the ball on the ground, control him in the pocket.
Yeah, this is a different team than last year. Honestly, and though the feel's just a little bit different. The Bills are coming into a hostile environment this year. You know what I mean? Last year we had to travel to Buffalo. They're coming here this time.
yeah, and look, the Denver's defense was good last year, just overall, but they're even better this year. With the addition of Afunga and Dre Greenlaw, and I disagree with A Train's point. I mean, you might have to if Dre Greenlaw can't stop the run, but I have 100% faith that you won't have to drop a funga in the box just to stop James Cook. Because one thing I do know about Dre Greenlaw is when it comes to the run game, he is going to come downhill. He's going to fill the gaps disciplined. And if you can't run between the tackles, then James Cook is not a great outside, bouncing to the outside.
Exactly.
He's not that fast. So if you can clog the A gap and the B gap up, I mean, I think they're going to fare pretty well with Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah, I think the Bills come in with a different script than what we saw last week. I think they want it to be a James Cook game. I think they want to get him going quick and early because I don't think they want to always put it in Josh Allen's hands. Can he throw? Can he throw for over 300 yards and 3 tutties? Yeah, but I don't think he's going to do it on this defense today.
Yeah, and how they drove down the field on Jacksonville for 96 yards, you're not doing that against Denver. Not at all.
Right.
And with that, this is going to be the Bills' best chance this year. We've been giving Josh Allen and the Bills a pass for the last 4 years, guys, haven't we? All of us. This is the opportunity where, yes, the Bills are injured, but this is where they have to make their bones. The Broncos number one defense right now for sacks, forcing sacks. This is how the Bills are going to write their history in the playoffs, is beating this style of team. And for me today, I'm picking the Broncos. I don't like the Bills. I think these injuries do matter. I think that this defense is going to come and close in on the edges on Josh Allen. And I think they're going to do a better job of closing up the middle, because that has been talked about all week. And if I know Sean Payton, like we all do, that guy focuses on weaknesses of his own team, hones in on it, and tries to improve it for the game. And yes, the two-headed rushing attack of Allen and Cook may stifle the middle. I think the Broncos are going to win today in a close one. And I think it's going to be like A-Train said. I think we're only going to see a score of like 20-17.
I know we don't want to get into a shootout. That's one thing I don't want.
And our other fan here, Southgate, decided to just hop on up. Southgate, what do you got to say about this before we move on to the next game today for your Broncos against the Bills?
I'm sorry, I'm not as young as my friend A-Train. I need my sleep. But what I'm gonna say is, the scary thing is, I think we are gonna win a high-scoring game. I see this game ending like 32-30 or something crazy like that. And I see us stopping Josh Allen.
Go fuck yourself.
That's right, Bills. Go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, Buffalo.
Go fuck yourselves, Buffalo.
All right.
While Southgate's dealing with technical difficulties, he's got the New York phone network honing in on him. Let's go ahead and talk real quick. Sponsors, guys. We got some cool sponsors. We got BetUS. We got MyBookie.ag, NFL Shop, MLB Shop, Walmart Store. We got W Energy Drinks. You got to use codes not moved. And W, MyBookie, use code not moved. You're going to get some help, because with not moved, you're always going to get some help with the bets, with the clothing, with everything that's fashionable, with everything looking good. JB, break it down for us. What do we got going for the Not Moved fam, our merch, all that stuff, man? I think someone might be muted here, Jables.
Yep, definitely was. It's not moved shop.412.com. Use promo code not moved, receive 10% off store wide. Use it up, like Gremlin said. We got mybookie.ag, BetUS. You guys use those. Drop the promo code not moved. Get you 100% off your or not 100% off, 100% match deposit match your first 3 deposits. For those of you where it's not green lighted for FanDuel and DraftKings, yeah, man, and W Energy Drinks. Use promo code not move, receive 10% off your purchases. See that guy, bro.
Second game today, fellas. 8:00. It's the big one for the NFC today. Niners at the Seahawks. JB and Betters briefly touched earlier upon. We are finding out about Sam Darnold's oblique injury, potentially preventing him from playing. We're still unsure. He's questionable right now, questionable / doubtful from what I see from one of these reports. That's weird. So we have these two NFC West teams that know each other very well. Betters, with these two teams, what are you looking at? What do you want to hone in on first in this playoff game?
I just want to touch up on Darnold's injury real quick again. I find the FanDuel Daily Fantasy app to be pretty accurate with their injury updates. And what they just listed is that the Seahawks believe that he will be cleared to start in this game tonight. So, I do expect Darnold to play in this game. I'd be very surprised if he did not play. Also, Ricky Pearsall, questionable to play with a knee issue. He's the wide receiver for San Francisco. He was inactive in that wild card win over the Eagles last week. So it looks like there is optimism that he will play in this game per the FanDuel Daily Fantasy app. And, it looks like still like Torrey Horton, wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks, is going to be out in this one. He's a rookie for the Seattle Seahawks. But, this game, before I came onto this show, I see that San Francisco is 7-point underdogs. Let me go double check that. Yeah, +7. So I like that. But the fact that Darnold is questionable is making me like Seattle a little bit more. A lot of eyes are going to be on this game. There's going to be a lot of public interest on this game. And I think when people see that Darnold's questionable, I think people already like San Francisco. The general public, a majority of the general public already likes San Francisco to possibly win this game. And you add a questionable tag to Darnold, who I'm personally not really hip on. I don't think Darnold is, like great, especially in these big moments. But the fact that there's a questionable tag on him makes me starting to really consider Seattle covering and winning this game. I'll give my prediction at the end after we talk about it. But those are just my thoughts going into this. I think Seattle's done a great job this season at accumulating passing yards for the amount of rushing plays that they call. Seattle calls the third highest percentage of rushing plays out of any team in the league, yet they rank 9th best in passing yards per game. So that really tells you how efficient this team is. And then from my understanding, Brock Purdy has never lost a game in Seattle. He's 4-0 from my understanding. And this game's in Seattle tonight. I think the general public is going to look at that and be a little bit more inclined to take San Francisco in this game as well, which is another reason why I'm thinking about going the other way here with Seattle. We saw this, a big streak just get snapped. I'm sorry to bring this up, Dollface Gremlin, but, that Monday Night Football streak with Pittsburgh not too long ago, or was it against Baltimore, or it was last week in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, Houston.
Houston, yeah. And then that streak gets snapped. I'm thinking this streak might get snapped here today, and Seattle comes away with the win. But I'll think about it a little bit more as the show goes on. What about you, JB? What are you thinking?
Oh man, I think it's going to be a pretty defensive game. And you got two teams that are really hungry. I mean, their yards per game are identical. They're both averaging 351.4 yards per game, tied for 7th in the NFL. Seattle seems to just accumulate and get a little bit more turnovers. Not too many. Their differentials not far off of each other. I honestly expect it to be more of a evenly matched game now with the injuries to Kittle and whatnot on the 49ers. I know it's these guys are man. These guys are division rivals. And what, they split this year? You guys know?
Yeah, they split.
They split? Man. It's gonna be a straight up 50-50 game right here. This is if Seattle can contain CMC, not just on the ground, but in the passing game, I think that they become a really one-dimensional team. To me, I think that if the CMC is the heart and soul of that team, and if Seattle balls them up, dude, I see it being a long day. I have Seattle in this game. I think they're just too powerful a team, in my opinion. Balanced, evenly balanced. Adrian Southgate, bag, dog face.
Yeah, so one thing that you touched on is they did split, but you're looking at two separate weeks, right? First week that the 49ers won, it's crazy. They spend 17 weeks in between playing each other. So it's two completely different teams by then. Seattle won that last game, and you could say that the 49ers might not played their best ball, Seattle might not, but they won that game handily 13-3.
Mm-hmm.
And I say handedly because 10 points over a division rival to end the season to become a number 1 seed. That means something. That means something. And I do think Seattle's defense has this capability to force turnovers as well. They forced 18 interceptions this year. They had one returned for a touchdown. They need to be better about forcing fumbles against this team. Brock Purdy's that type of quarterback, though, that when hit, he drops the ball. So I really like Seattle's defense in this game. I think they're going to do a lot more to Kyle Shanahan and his offense than people expect. I do think this is one of those years where it's we have to not rely on Brock Purdy he's beaten Seattle in Seahawks. Like Better said, I think like the Steelers, they were undefeated on Monday night at home. Guess what? It's time that these traditions and things are snapped, and this might be the year for it.
Yeah, again, the home field advantage, I think, plays a factor. We know the 12th man is real, and I know, they got a good win. San Francisco got a good win against Philly last week, but I think with the extra rest and the home field advantage, I think that really plays a factor, and I'm taking Seattle as well.
For me, listen, that oblique injury is very worrisome. Sure, will Sam Darnold start the game? Sure, I have no qualms about that. And I know they're going to put some Toradol in his system, and he's going to be a little bit active. But what's going to happen when he gets drilled, and then that oblique, gets re-injured, even with the Toradol? Like when you have an injury like that, because that's going to affect his throwing, right? Like, so if he gets one clean shot on him, if he stays in the game, that's going to hinder the passing. And we all know his favorite target is JSN, and rightfully so. He's a dog. But if he can't survive that clean shot, like who's the backup? Milrow?
Drew Lock has been taking snaps with the first team this week.
Oh yeah, well, okay. Um, I'm not the hugest supporter of Drew Lock, but he's not bad. So I guess if they can get a good lead and then he gets taken out, sure, they got a better chance. But I mean, that's Seahawks defense is fierce. You know what I mean? The third best overall defense. Um, so I mean, it to me, this is a toss up. And would you say the spread was better? 7?
Yep. Seattle's favored by 7.
Yeah, that is a little worrisome.
What
You know what concerns me the most about taking Seattle in this game is the referee. We mentioned the referee Sheffers in the Bills and Broncos game. John Hussey is the referee, head ref for this one. And San Francisco has a 6-3 record when he is the head ref, or refereeing that games with San Francisco in it. And Seattle's 4-7. So San Francisco does have a higher winning percentage with this referee than Seattle does. But believe me, there's plenty of times throughout the season that I saw where a referee wasn't historically favoring one team and the other team ended up covering and or winning. So, but that is a concern.
And one thing I want to touch on with this, I hate this notion that Sam Darnold is not clutch, because what situation has he ever been in that required his clutch ability to come in minus last year, where he was finally on a good team that had an offensive coordinator that schemed properly? This notion that we have to judge this man off of 3 years with a shitty Jets organization, 2 years with a Carolina organization that really didn't want him to be there, and then back up as the San Francisco. He finally gets the ball with this Vikings team last year that is run properly. And look what he does with it. They decide to move on, and look what their rookie stars or second year guy who was hurt as a rookie did. Nothing. JJ McCarthy did nothing this year. And it's because Sam Darnold was better fit for that offense. So for this is a shame to me that he's coming in with this oblique injury, because Bag is 100% correct. He's going to not be able to plant his back foot as well, and he's not going to be able to follow through. And one hit, imagine one hit to the backside on a blind side hit. Drew Lock's coming in. Drew Lock is going to be coming in at least for one play, I'm thinking. And I don't like the notion Sam Darnold's not. We can't judge him based off of these crappy teams before.
Yeah, great point there, Gremlin. But here's what I'll say about, San Francisco potentially getting a good hit on him. San Francisco had the fewest sacks per game this season, and Seattle has protected Darnold very well this season. They rank 6th in sacks allowed per game. So I think Darnold, I'd be surprised to see him get sacked in this game.
But who says the sack? Who says it has to be a sack? Right? We're
Yeah,
talking
it
about
could just be a
hit.
hit. Yeah,
We
good
just
point.
need a hit. Whether it's a roughing the passer hit, like
True.
I mean, that's to me that's worth it, right? Like I'm if I'm
Take a chance.
yeah, if I'm Robert Saleh, look, even if you have to take those 2 steps, just get a clean hit just to get him out the game, right? Like these mindsets of defenders, yes, the rules have changed, right? But the mindset of a defender is still a defender, right? Like if I have a chance to knock you out the game, even if I have to catch a 15-yard penalty, it's worth it. I'll give up 15 yards just to get Sam Darnold out the game. And I want to push back on what Gremlin said. I understand we don't want to, hone on the notion that Sam Darnold is just trash because of his New York days. But when he got to Carolina, his first 6 games, because remember, he had CMC was still there. They were
Yep.
balling, right?
Yep.
Like, they were doing pretty good. But even when he got to Minnesota last year and they had a great overall year, when it came down, because we're talking about playoff games, right? We're talking about games with the bright lights when we need Sam Darnold to be the best version of Sam Darnold. Even on the Minnesota team, he was not. The last game against Detroit was not only for the #1 seed in the conference, but also for their division. He fumbled and dropped the bag. Then the following week in the playoffs against the Rams, like, he did the same thing. The lights were too bright, and he did not perform. So
Disagree wholeheartedly. You can't blame him for his defense not being able to stop Matt Stafford. You can blame him for the fumble and the interception, but also you can't blame him for the defense that didn't do their job either.
I didn't say anything about the defense.
Well, you're putting the game loss on Sam Darnold as if he lost the game. He
No,
didn't lose the game.
I didn't say anything about them losing the game. I'm talking about Sam Darnold's performance.
Yeah,
Right?
and like I said, I still, he played admirably. I see what you're saying because yes, Detroit, I do not give him that. No, you're right on Detroit. I I don't put the loss with the Rams on him because he was facing a good Rams defense also,
Mhm.
which yes, it doesn't matter. You gotta play. You're right, Bag. You gotta play under the bright lights. But also his team didn't show up. The only thing that showed up on that team was the touchdown he threw.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with you. I'm not gonna blame the loss on Sam Darnold, not at all. I'm talking about his performance in those 2 games, right, with the bright lights. These are the moments, because, I agree with you. I don't want to harp and say because of the bad situations that Sam Darnold was in, because we all know not only is where you're drafted, but the coaching that you have around you and also the roster. So I'm not going to hold that against him. But also at the same sense, when it comes to the bright lights in the important games, how do you perform? I'm not holding the losses on Sam Darnold. I am holding his performances, right? Because how you perform is basically not all the way, but mostly it's your doing, your decision making, not throwing the ball away, right? Inaccurate passes. So I'm holding his feet to the fire for being Sam Darnold. I'm not taking anything else that happened, earlier in his career to the sense, because we are back at it again. This is a playoff game. So how are you, Sam Darnold, going to perform?
100%. What about Brock Purdy, guys? We've been talking about, and I brought up Sam Darnold. What about Brock Purdy? What's going to happen with Brock Purdy in this defense?
Well, I'm looking at this box score, right? Seattle, San Francisco. What was this? The week 18? And I believe it was whoever won that game won the division. Is that right, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
Yes.
Seattle ended up winning that game 13-3. Darnold didn't do anything extraordinary for Seattle to win that game by 10 points in San Francisco. He went 20 for 26, 198 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He was sacked a couple times. He didn't lose a fumble. So Darnold took care of the ball. And that's all he's got to do today. I'm not asking for him to go out there and be, a gunslinger. But back to your question about Brock Purdy. In that game, Purdy 19 for 27, threw an interception. He was sacked 3 times, and I would expect the same kind of if I'm Seattle, I'm looking to create the same type of problems in that game. But luckily for San Francisco, they can go back and make some adjustments. But somebody mentioned the fact, Kittle's out. Kittle was playing in that game, and now Kittle is not. And I think that's a big blow to the San Francisco team. But yeah, I mean, I think this defense for Seattle is the real deal. They rank third in rushing yards allowed per game this season, ninth in passing yards allowed per game. That's top 10 in both of those categories. And when you don't have a weapon like Kittle, I think he's going to have some problems today, man. And I think the best way for Purdy and San Francisco to have some success is for him to run the ball. That seems like one of Seattle's biggest defensive vulnerabilities is quarterbacks rushing the ball against them. He only rushed the ball 2 times in that game against Seattle, in week 18, I believe it was. I'm looking at the box score here. 2 carries for 21 yards. I feel like he has to run the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, Seattle, if you look at that box score from that last game, Seattle stifled the run in general. I mean, CMC, although only 8 attempts, he only had 23 yards in that game rushing wise. And as we saw in the last game, CMC is going to be, obviously, he's going to be a featured part given Kittle's out. But I think Seattle's going to be able to do a better job than, say, Philly did against CMC. A-Train, between these two, this seems like it's going to come down probably to a defensive play. With the Seattle defense, they kind of remind me in a way of the Broncos, right? Where they're gonna rush you, but they are a little susceptible up the middle. What do you think about their defense today?
I'm high on Seattle. I've been high on Seattle all year. Just the way that they get pressure, like you said. I mean, they can make Brock Purdy uncomfortable, and I see Seattle going far in these playoffs. I really like Seattle. I like them actually representing the NFC. I mean, I couldn't be higher. Just to be straight up honest. I mean, they're able to run the ball. JSN has emerged to be a top 5 wide receiver this year. I mean, I like everything that they do offensively. I like everything they do defensively. They finally have the coaching that they need to get over the hump and to take them far. And I couldn't be higher. Like, I just straight up, I can't be higher on Seattle than I am right now. They're my NFC pick, and I see them representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. I do.
And how about you, Bag? I know, this defense has been the story mainly for Seattle. Do you think that this is going to be the main contributing factor in what is able to stop Brock Purdy, CMC, and that 49er offense? What do you think that defense is going to do?
I agree with A-Train 100%, even though I don't want to, because I'm still salty that the Ravens got rid of Mike McDonald. But, I mean, I'm not going to let that, get in the way and deter me from seeing them have success. I agree. I think the defense is going to stifle Brock Purdy again. You said they sacked him 3 times. They held him to under 200 yards. They fumbled once, if I'm not mistaken, you said. If they can replicate that and shut down CMC, being able to control time of possession and keep drives going, yeah, it's going to be pretty much the same game plan and the same results in my eyes.
Yeah, this does seem like it's going to be a rock fight. Go ahead, Butters. My bad.
Sorry, I just want to bring up one thing real quick with CMC, Christian McCaffrey running back for San Francisco. I mentioned that Seattle ranks 3rd in rushing yards allowed per game. And San Francisco has a pretty balanced play calling style in regards to passing plays versus rushing plays called. But with Kittle being out, man, I saw that one of Seattle's biggest flaws is receiving yards allowed to running backs. And I'm looking at the fantasy.nfl.com. Receiving yards allowed to running backs. Seattle's done a poor job at defending this season. Receptions, I'm trying to filter this by receptions real quick in case anybody's interested in Christian McCaffrey receptions. Seattle allowed the most receptions to running backs this season. And I'm pretty sure, let me go look at target share here for, excuse me, for for San Francisco real quick, and I'm pretty sure Christian McCaffrey, leads this team in target share. So I would expect
Yep.
San Francisco to pass the ball to Christian McCaffrey a lot in this game. And if Seattle absolutely focuses on that and defends that, I think the next place that Seattle has got to look, or excuse me, San Francisco. I think the next place San Francisco has to look is their tight end, Tonjes. And I think somebody in the chat, Blessed Up P just mentioned Tonjes in the chat.
Yep.
He's not really a household name, with Kittle being out. I think he's got some good upside in this game as well.
Yeah, one thing I will say about Seattle against CMC, the last game, they held him to 6 receptions off 7 targets for 34 yards. On top of the 23 yards of rushing, they held him under 100 total. They held him under 60 total yards from scrimmage. Seattle really did a great job of honing in on that X factor of Christian McCaffrey that last game. Whereas if you look at the very first game of the season, Christian McCaffrey did exactly what you're talking about, 69 rushing yards, but 73 receiving yards there. So this is definitely.
How many times was he held under 100, both receiving and rushing throughout the whole season?
I can look that up right now. Do you want both? And what do you want? Just so let's do it this way. So McCaffrey rushing, he was held under 100 in the majority of the games this year. He only rushed over 100 yards 4 times. Receiving yards, he never went over 100 yards receiving this year for the 49ers. The highest amount of receiving yards he had was against Jacksonville in the last couple weeks there with 92. So he has had a lot of games of 100 yards from scrimmage, but there's never been a receiving yard game of over 100 yards, and he's only done rushing over 104 times.
Gotcha.
Yeah, surprisingly, as much as we see McCaffrey, with fantasy, obviously all of us with fantasy know how much of a winner he is on there, but he only had 1,200 rushing yards this year. And I hate to say only because that's an accomplishment. 924 receiving yards, though, that is really what stands out to me. This is a man who has gone over 1,000 yards once already in his career receiving with Carolina, and this year was the best year. You could argue this is either the second best or best year he's had with San Francisco.
So I say this: you might be able to hold CMC under 100 on the ground. But and that's been fine, but he's been slaying them in the air receiving.
I thought in 23 he had 1,000 and 1,000.
So well that I'm talking about with the 49ers though. Like he hasn't had 1,000 and 1,000 with the 49ers. It's showing me right now.
Okay.
Hold on, let me verify because I don't want to, I don't want to say anything about somebody being wrong. No, so far he had that 1,000-yard, 1,400-yard rushing season. He had 564 receiving yards.
Okay, so he had 2,000 all-purpose.
Yes, he had 1,000 and 1,000 with Carolina back in 19.
Gotcha.
And so something interesting too is Christian McCaffrey this year. With the 49ers, there's only been a couple games I'm looking at where he has not scored a touchdown, and we're looking at 5 games total, with 2 of them being in the last 3 weeks. So Christian McCaffrey did not score a touchdown in 5 games this year, whether that be rushing or receiving.
Yeah, and Seattle has allowed the fewest rushing touchdowns to running backs this season and the second fewest receiving touchdowns to running backs. So that makes me concerned about McCaffrey getting into the end zone today. And the fact that Kittle is out, I think there could be even more attention that Seattle can give McCaffrey at defending against him. Which, can open up things for I would think it would open up things for Tonjes, and
I like Tonjes for real. I like him this week.
And
I
then
like.
that
Go
makes
Go
me,
with.
Go ahead.
sorry, bro. That just makes me want to go look at how many touchdowns Seattle has allowed to tight ends this season, and they're about middle of the pack. And I'm looking at all these other categories: receiving touchdowns allowed to wide receivers. Seattle's done good at defending against that, and rushing touchdowns allowed to quarterbacks is another place where they're somewhat vulnerable. So that, those would be the two spots I would look for if you guys, if anybody out there is looking for anytime touchdowns. Just statistically speaking, it seems like it would make the most sense for Tonjes to get a touchdown here, and then maybe even Purdy sneaking into the end zone. But the thing about Purdy is that he has only scored one rushing touchdown in 1 out of 7 regular season games against Seattle. I know this is the playoffs, so I would go look at that playoff information if anybody's interested in that. But 1 out of 7 regular season games isn't strong history there.
And I also want to point out, JB, I'm glad you mentioned Jake Tonjes because he's actually one of their top 3 targets in the red zone. Christian
Mhm.
McCaffrey being number 1. Jake Tonjes is like number 2 or 3 without Kittle. Tonjes has scored a good amount of his 5 touchdowns this year in the red zone, including week 1 against Seattle.
Yeah. I like I said, I like him because Kittle was a big factor in that, and Tonjes is he's done his diligence. He's done due. I do like Jennings though, but I was gonna say that he's always a pretty good target, whether he's throwing the ball or receiving.
And I do think San Francisco, I'm glad you brought up those red zone targets because I think San Francisco is going to have plenty of opportunities to score in the red zone. They rank 4th in red zone attempts per game. Seattle ranks 15th in opponent red zone attempts per game. So Seattle is about average at preventing their opponents from entering that red zone against them. Once again, San Francisco is good at entering the red zone. It's just, will San Francisco score touchdowns? They do rank 4th best in red zone conversion percentage, touchdowns only, but Seattle's been good at preventing teams from scoring touchdowns against them. They rank 4th in opponent red zone conversion rate. So, but I think San Francisco is going to have plenty of opportunity in the red zone. So it makes me like Tonjes once again. Not like a big name that a lot of people are going to be talking about. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at McCaffrey first and foremost to score touchdowns, right? So
What's really interesting to me about the Seattle red zone defense is that they may be ranked 5th overall, but they are a 50% conversion rate against them. So it's a 50-50 shot when you're in the red zone against Seattle. And that a team like San Fran that is so offense heavy, that bodes well for them.
Yeah, I like CMC and the Brown or on the what the heck? I looked at the dude's name and started saying it. I like CMC, big time today. Him and Jennings. Another one, actually, I take that back. I actually take that back. I don't want Jennings. I don't even like Jennings. I'm gonna go with CMC and Kansas City native, 2-time Super Bowl champion Demarcus Robinson, number 5. He's gonna be that guy today. Okay, I'm gonna say this. I said it last week as well. Obviously in the regular season, we go with the hot names, the big guys we think. In the playoffs, though, it's a win or go home. So you guys got to think that. I mean, you are gonna get, we are gonna get, some yards for sure, but touchdowns. I mean, it's not they're few and far between. It's a lot less of a chance or likeliness that we're gonna get those, right? So I've been kind of like looking into like, instead of them household names, like them guys that you don't see because the attention is not going to be on them, because this is the playoffs, and that is how you get further in the playoffs, is by doing something that a team is not ready for, prepared for, or something that they didn't look into, right? So, like with the Chiefs, that's how the Chiefs prepare, with Andy Reid, and especially with like Mike Shanahan. I definitely anticipate something like that. Throwing a wrinkle out there, he's got a similar type of not offensive, scheme, but he likes to throw wrinkles in them, just like Andy Reid. I would be looking at, instead of, besides McCaffrey, I would be looking elsewhere. Besides the household names, um, you know, probably the same as with the Seahawks as well.
Yeah, I go Charbonnet. I mean, what have we seen from that San Francisco defense? I mean, Philadelphia was right in that game. They score on that last drive. Philadelphia wins that game, and I think it was in the mid-20s, right? And we
Hmm.
watched the Bears march up and down that field on that Niners defense, right? If I'm looking, at a wagering aspect, I'm leaning towards like a guy like Zach Charbonnet because, I mean, San Francisco put up 3 points last time they played, and I think this is when defense matters, and
Yeah,
I'm not moved by San Francisco's defense. I'm not.
yeah, I'm not moved by their defense either, um, at all.
I gotta disagree. I mean, to a certain extent, I feel what y'all are saying, but for the pieces that they have lost and the teams that they did hold, like that Eagles offense should have ran up and down with Saquon Barkley, and AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. And a lot of people want to put it on Kevin Patola for that game, and I disagree. Maybe as the season entirely, you can blame Kevin Patola, but his adjustments were on point in that game against San Fran. I gotta blame Jalen Hurts more than anybody for that loss. A lot of inaccurate passes, a lot of bad decision making instead of hitting the wide. Zaire, stop. A lot of bad decision making when he should have hit, Dallas Gollard clear across the middle, wide open, but he wants to force it to Shipley. Uh, that defense is with Robert Saleh coming back, losing Bosa, losing Fred Warner, losing Dre Greenlaw, and Afunga going over to Denver. I got to give it to them, bro. They played really well.
See, I kind of disagree on the 49er defense. I think we all got in love with them in the beginning of the season when they were actually playing well. I mean, this is the one of the lowest turnover rate defenses in the league. They can't force an interception. They can't force a fumble. They can't. I mean, their fumble recoveries are nice when they do, but the passing defense is atrocious. The Niners passing defense is absolute hot garbage. Um, it ranks in the bottom of the league. So while I agree the running defense of theirs is a bend and not break, like Bag said, Robert Saleh has taught this team that yes, with the injuries, we're going to bend, but we're not going to break. I think this is where it all collapses on them. I think this is where Seattle, to A Train's point, they're going to use Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker and just gut them up the middle and then take advantage of them where they can. Uh, I don't like this 49er defense. I think everything is just finally starting to topple on them. I think these last few romantic weeks of the season that we've had with them, it's finally coming to an end.
But why didn't that Seattle offense do that against them the last week of the season? Right? Like they held them pretty good.
They didn't need
13
Yeah, no,
to.
you're
points.
right.
Right. So
Yep.
like why can't they replicate that? You know what I mean? Like and I get uh at a holistic standpoint, sure, they didn't turn teams over a lot. But whether you turn I mean, ideally that's what you want for your defense to create more possessions for your offense. But if they're not doing that, but also at the same time they're stopping a high potent offense from dropping 24 points. I mean, to me, that's a wash. You know what I mean? That's a push.
And this is where I don't I disagree. They allowed 23 first downs on that Seattle team. They allowed 180 rushing yards and they allowed 198 passing yards. It was a low game in general. It was a defensive struggle, but Seattle took advantage at the end of the season where they needed to. This defense is not the same one that was in the beginning of the season that stifled all this stuff. Seattle did take advantage. Sam Darnold didn't make mistakes, and that two-prong rushing attack went for 97 and 74 on them. So I don't think San Fran has a good enough defense. It's the playoffs now, and so maybe I'm forcing that into my thought processes. I think Seattle is just in, like A Trade said. For me, maybe that's what's affecting and causing my bias is I think Seattle's going to the Super Bowl. I I just this 49er team with the injuries and with the uncertainty of with Fred Warner's out still. That has come up officially. He will not be playing in this game. I think the defense is just all going to culminate, and finally, all these injuries are going to catch up. But that, like I said, that's my opinion, and that's based off of what I saw the last few weeks.
Yeah, you can only band-aid so long.
I get it. I mean, I understand your reasoning.
Yeah, and it's one thing too. The really the Sam Darnold injury, I think, fucks all this up for everybody. That oblique injury is no joke for a quarterback.
I agree. I agree.
I want to just mention a little statistic here about this game. I think special teams are somewhat overlooked. We get caught in the passing offense and passing defense, rushing offense a lot, and sometimes we just, and I'm guilty of it myself. I just overlooked that special team aspect. I noticed there was a promotion on DK about longest touchdown. I think this guy has a little bit of potential to get the longest touchdown of the day today. Rashid Shaheed. Now, I don't necessarily think he's going to do that through the air, through the passing attack, but I think he's got a decent chance to on this kickoff game. He has the longest touchdown this season out of any player, I believe. Let me double check that. But
100 yards, is that the one you're looking at? 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown?
Yeah, I just want to double check that.
They also have the longest punt return for a touchdown with 95 yards. Seattle.
Torrey Horton, though, who he's that rookie who's not in today. But it looks like no, this is going to be somebody else. But yeah, anyways, I think Rashid Shaheed could do it on a kickoff return, considering that San Francisco has allowed the seventh most kickoff return yards this season. They've actually allowed, I think an even bigger statistic here is they've allowed the fifth most kickoff return yards average. So basically all I'm saying is that San Francisco has allowed a good chunk of yardage on kickoff returns this season. They haven't allowed a kick return for a touchdown yet, though. But I think, it's possible. And, if Shaheed is picking up good yardage on those kickoffs, if San Francisco scores the ball, and kicks the ball off, 2, 3, 4 times, if he's picking up, good yardage, that just makes the game a little bit even more difficult here for San Francisco.
Something interesting about both these teams, they both have a great kickoff return average. They're both in the top 10, Seattle being number 3 and San Fran being number 7. But this is where Seattle gets them. Their punt return average is third best in the league.
Wow.
So when Seattle's getting the ball, not only are they making you pay on the kickoff return, they're making you pay on the punt return.
And it looks like Shaheed is actually doing the punt returns too. Now that Torrey Horton is out, so he's got other chances to score touchdowns today than just being a wide receiver.
If I'm not mistaken, I think
I like
Shaheed is the only return guy that has a punt return and a kick return.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Let's see. So
I like Shaheed in this on the Seattle side. Like,
yep, you're right, Bag.
I obviously, I'm gonna go with JSN. I think in order for them to win, it's just bottling and containing up CMC. Other than that, realistically, who do they have? And if they have them out there, are they healthy? They're like, we all know. We got into that on TikTok, about the power grid that's right there. And then it was like right after we talked about it, the very next game, Kittle tears his Achilles. Like, I wonder if they got a thing, if I can make a leg or something about the next injury. At least one Niners guy injures a ACL or Achilles today. Just gonna put it out there. I don't know if that's a pick.
Yep. And that's what's happening. Christian McCaffrey's sacrificing a teammate each week to stay healthy this season.
Yeah.
Hey, yo.
And voodoo
that's
warrior
crazy.
stuff.
Yep.
That's crazy. But like I said, I think really Seattle just needs to bottle up McCaffrey and get after Purdy. Other than that, JSN, bro, Cooper Cup. I'm gonna go with Cooper Cup today. I expect Cooper Cup to do something. Like I said, I think the focal point is obviously gonna be the number one. I think they're gonna be worrying about those areas a little more than Cup. Who is Cup? But Cup's got that. He's got that experience. He's got that playoff. Triple crown. And keeping Sam Darnold safe, dude. I think that's upright. I think that's their keys for Seattle to win that. Like I said, I got Seattle in this one.
No, that's
Yeah, I
literally
think-
the only thing that worries me in this game is that Sam Darnold injury that popped up out of nowhere. And now I'm reading he didn't throw a ball since Thursday. Like, that's not good. Like, I don't like it.
Yeah, to Bag's point, like with the Eagles lost that game last week because what their defense forced Brock Purdy to do, he threw 2 interceptions. They caused him to fumble once. Now, granted, they retained that fumble, but still, if you can do that to Brock Purdy and Seattle can do that, I think it's going to be a long day for the Niners trying to figure out how to move the ball upfield if they're going to be putting that much pressure on Brock. Bag, what you got for us, man? What do you think this game is going to turn out to be at the end here?
I'm gonna go with the underdog. I'm not gonna lie. Just like A-Train said, that oblique injury with Sam Darnold, man. Even if he doesn't get knocked out the game, to not throw the ball, over the last 2-3 days, bro, that's kind of worrisome because the timing's going to be off, his velocity is going to be off. I understand they got a good offensive line, and they can rely on Kenneth and Charbonnet. But if that defense of Seattle cannot contain and turn over Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy can be just efficient, move the ball down the field, get points when you need it, I'm gonna go with San Fran, bro. I'm gonna say another low scoring game, 19-13, 19-14. I'm gonna go with the underdog. I'm gonna take the upset.
Hey, Train, what's your predictions, my friend? What do you got for this game?
I got Seattle winning 27-17.
JB, what's your predictions, my friend?
Yeah, man. Bag made some valid points there with San Fran. I do like the underdog, but We ain't got no sponsorships or loyalties to Underdog, you guys. So I'm gonna go with Seattle. You know, bet US mybookie.ag, you guys. That's where I'm going. I'm gonna take Seattle Seahawks. I just like I said it before. I think that defense is too stout, and defense wins championships. And rely on that running game, protect Sam here and there. Protect him, keep him upright, pass the ball here and there. I like Seattle. A low scoring game. I'm gonna do like 13 to 13 Seattle.
Betters, what do you think is going to be the final outcome of this game?
You're muted, Betters.
It might help if I turn my mic on. 31-13 Seattle. Before I came onto the show, man, I was pretty. I haven't looked at this game a whole lot this week, but before I came on the show, first glance, I thought San Francisco plus the point sounded pretty good. Once I heard about Darnold's questionable injury and his status up in the air, makes me like Seattle even more. Believe it or not, and give me Seattle 31-13.
Man, Bags has got me thinking with this Darnold oblique injury, and find out about this Thursday, and now hearing he hasn't even thrown a ball. I'm really worried about this because Drew Lock is the backup, and this man has never played a game in the playoffs in his entire career.
No.
That doesn't bode well for me because to what Bag's saying, I mean, all of us, I'm sure we've played football once in our lives, and all of us have played a sport hurt. And even just a little twinge or a little hit is always enough to make you change how you're playing. I really don't like this Darnold injury. I think I'm going to go with the Niners, and I think it's going to be more like,
Ooh.
I know I don't want the Niners to win. I want the Seahawks to win, but I am worried about this Darnold injury, and I think it's going to be a close one because of it. I think we're looking at 18-16 Niners.
Ooh. Nice.
Unfortunately, Darnold's injuries got me moved.
Welcome to the dark side, Gremlin. Welcome to the dark side.
You swayed
Hey,
him
we
back.
AFC North guys got to stick together, okay? Even if it's two hated enemies like each other, I'm with you, Bag. But guys, if anybody, all of you not moved members, go to mybookie.ag. Go to all of our pages, the fourth wall there, where you can go and get some of our merch. We already got people out there who are rocking our merch. Our friend who
Yeah.
we find on TikTok all the time, Rachel Bergang.
Yeah, the Not
She's got
Smooth
the
podcast
sweet
groupie.
hoodie. She got that sweet hoodie. It looks awesome. Go check her page out. She made a sweet ass post about it. It looks nice. It looks clean. The design is fresh. Comfortability. She's already reported how comfortable that hoodie is, how cozy it is. You also want to go hit with our codes. What's the code at mybookie.ag, JB?
Not moved.
And what's that get us again?
It gets 10%. Oh, well, my bookie, it gets you up to 125% on your first 3 deposits. That is 100% on the sports books and 25% over there on the casino side. The same thing with Bet US. Same deals, same code, not moved. And then with W energy drinks. You go to w.gg, get some new energy drinks. Workout, video gaming. Dump them. Get rid of them. The ones you buy at the store, man. The cans. It's not good, bro. It's not good. Enter promo code not move, get you 10% off store wide. Use as many times as you want. I mean, you put in 12 orders. Same thing with the not move shop, man. Not move shop.fourthwall.com. Promo code not move, 10% off the entire store. Use this many times as you guys want. If you guys also head over to the Twitch side, you guys go hit that subscribe button on the Twitch side. It gives you an extra 5% off. You can combine it. That's a total of 15% off.
And one thing that's really cool is my wife already used the Walmart store, guys. It's legit. Go in there, get your products through the Walmart store through our link. Get a little percentage off. It's pretty nice, guys. It's pretty nice.
It's just like we did the drawings, raffles for the jerseys, the NFL shop.
Is that the same? The Walmart thing is the same promo?
You
So
got to
you just go
go
through the Walmart link through our links, and it'll take you to the storefront, which is not moved, and there's products on there that you can select that'll get you certain percentages and prices lowered.
Can you send me the link, JB?
Yep. And you guys, it's delivery, or you just pick it up. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever floats your boat. I know times, sometimes
Shout
it's
out
easier to
Walmart.
standard. Yeah, dude. Shout out Walmart, MLB shop as well. We got some new shows. We are producing and pushing out the Swagaholic Sports Show daily. Also on Mondays, we're gonna be doing the Swagaholic Sports Show collab with Not Move Podcast. We're gonna be doing all 22 NFL film breakdown. So we got some big things going. We also got all the other seasons coming up. MLB will be hitting up. We got NASCAR is going to be hitting the cars going to be hitting the track in 30 days, 29 days, I think it is. We got the basketball season is going, NHL,
World
we got the
Cup.
dribble, we got the World Cup is going to be present. We're going to be showing that.
And
Robert,
Jimmy's been really excited about UFC starting.
The UFC, it's in 3 days, I think.
Well, yeah, and now you just have to have the Paramount Plus app, and
Better
you're gonna be able to watch all the fights. So that's gonna draw viewership that you ain't got to pay for pay-per-views anymore.
See, and we're gonna be broadcasting a lot of this stuff, you guys. So if you guys aren't able to get to it, or you're on the go. Hey, just tap into that app, man. You know where to find us at.
Well, are we going to be back tomorrow to check out the other two games, JB? What do we got on the schedule for tomorrow, playoff day number 2, divisional rounds?
Oh man, tomorrow we got what? Texans and Patriots is the first game, right?
Yeah, and Rams Bears.
And the Rams and Bears. I think we're in for a good treat. I'm excited about that Bears game for real. Texans, I'm excited about them too. I want to see what the Texans can do offensively, and how they control time of possession with the defense.
Yeah, and I want to say something about the owner of the Patriots real quick. He come out with a quote this week saying how hard it was to let go of OJ Mayo last year, and he has to hire 25 new coaches, and it was so hard to transition from this coach, and it was the worst firing. Robert Kraft, you're a liar. Okay? You're a liar. It wasn't hard. You know why it wasn't hard? Because you own the team and you've done nothing but make money and print money off that team's back. Wasn't hard. Don't say stupid stuff like this just because you want your Patriots to get an edge, just because, you're playing the number 1 defense. I don't care. Patriots fans, I can't stand your crap. You're going down.
The not so cheesy Kraft macaroni.
Yeah, we have multi-million-dollar owners griping about running a team. Oh my gosh, get out of here with that stuff. Come on, you crybabies.
I don't buy it.
I'm not moved.
I'm not moved either. Man, I'm watching these replays. I'm watching these replays, dude, of San Fran and Seattle, dude, and their defense. And man, San Fran's got it. I don't know.
Yeah, they got their hands full tonight.
Yes, they do.
Well, hey, Trent, good luck to your Broncos.
Yes, sir.
Rooting
Go Broncos.
for them today. I'm waiting for the downfall of Josh Allen and McDermott. It's going to happen today. Let's go.
I want the downfall, both of them. Let's go. Tie it up.
Wishing you the best down here in Cancun, Trent.
Oh no, we're
Yep.
coming. We're coming in hot. Let's go.
Yep, you guys will be right off the jet. Come on, man. Cancun's waiting for you. Got you a spot right here.
All right.
Yep.
This is gonna tell us a lot about the Broncos. Everyone called us frauds all year. Let's see if we send Josh Allen home. Let's see if we're still called frauds.
I like it.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today on this preview. Betters, is there any other things that you want to help our viewers focus on, maybe to look at for last minute wagers or last minute things they should check out before they start placing their lines in?
Those injury updates, guys. I like to use, once again, the FanDuel Daily Fantasy app. And then I think they're compatible with rotogrinders.com or RotoWire, I believe it is, ROTO wire.com. I found that to be the most reliable source. Now, sometimes there's last minute scratches from games, but it's rare. But once again, yeah, I think they do a pretty good job. There's also just, a couple other resources out there, guys. I wouldn't rely on just one resources. I would look to see what maybe people are saying on the internet. And then I do just want to talk about the weather real quick. I didn't see any big weather implications for these games today. I'm going to go to rotogrinders.com right now. That Buffalo and Denver game, I'm just seeing winds around 10 miles per hour, but not really a big impact. And then that San Francisco and Seattle game, temperature in the 40s, calm winds, no weather impact. So, other than that, that's about it. I didn't have time to look at historical trends this week, but I do think that information is valuable. If you guys want to know, how many times a player has rushed or received a touchdown in their career against a certain team, or accumulated a certain amount of yardage, I think that information is beneficial sometimes. So, but that's about it for me.
Senor Bag, Baltimore's finest. What you got for us to send us off for this double dose of games, day one division round?
Like I said, I'm going to take the underdog in the Seattle game. I'm going with the 49ers, 19-13. Got Denver kicking Josh Allen, DEI MVP, and Sean McDermott about the playoffs, 28-17. And I'm just looking forward to good football. I mean, I'm a football fan first. It's unfortunate, that my Ravens didn't make the playoffs. But like I said at the beginning of the season, I'm cool with missing it as long as KC missed it. So I got to stand 10 toes on business.
Hey, Train, what are you going to send us off with today, brother?
I believe Mile High Magic comes to Denver today. The whole city's pretty ecstatic over this. I just, the whole town gets uplifted with a Broncos win. So I'm looking forward to actually, hosting another playoff game today. So go Broncos. Send Josh Allen home.
JB, how about you, my brother? What are you going to send us off with today?
Let's ride.
Oh, definitely not. I don't know. I guess, man. Hit that not move shop, man. Get some merch. This is, like I said before this early on the show, this is a hard this is a really hard really hard game for me to pick. I mean, like I think that Denver beats the Bills, right? But I I don't want neither to win. I want both of them to get knocked out today. But either way, I'm going with Denver, and I'm gonna go with Seattle for the dub. You guys got to bottle up CMC.
Yeah, and for me, I'm picking Denver minus any NFL chicanery with the Bills and their lover boy Josh Allen, which I hope doesn't happen. Luckily, we had a good first round of actual good refereeing for the most part. Like, I don't think we can point to one call that was just atrocious, unlike throughout almost every week of the regular season. But minus any NFL chicanery, I think the Broncos got the Bills, and I let those evil thoughts seep into my head, and I can't help but pick the Niners with this Darnold injury. I want Seattle to win, and I think they're the best overall NFC team. But if you got a quarterback who might go down off a QB hit, I think Bag's right. I think the 49ers might take it today.
I could see it. I mean, to be honest, I really could. But I'm going with Seattle still.
Well, everybody, thank you for joining us. We will be back in action. We're going to be talking about football tomorrow. We're going to be talking about football next week. We're going to be finishing off the season. Like JB, the man in the booth, said, we got our other shows. Please check us out. TikTok, check us out on X, check us out on StreamYard, check us out on YouTube,
Modify.
Spotify. We got our links. Check us out there. And guys, we are not moved. Let's go.
This non-casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Moved Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.